Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, welcome to the Bad Takes podcast. My name's Derek.
My name's Aaron.
And I'm Blake.
And this is where we're going to be giving our thoughts and opinions on the NFL. Today's episode 1, where we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl 2024 season, our biggest surprises, disappointments, things like that.
So let's start off with the Super Bowl. I think we all loved it because I don't like the Chiefs.
I don't like the Chiefs.
I hate the Chiefs.
Yeah. I don't like the Eagles either.
We were all pretty geeked, you know. As a Niners fan, I hate both the Eagles and the Chiefs. They both have done us dirty in the past. So I was pretty hyped, but it did hurt to have to kind of root for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was bittersweet, watching the Eagles do what I've been praying the Niners could do for the past 2-3 years, watching them just dismantle and actually score against the Chiefs. It was a bittersweet moment, but watching Mahomes just not have much to do was great.
It was pretty sick.
It was awesome. It just right from the get-go, I kind of said something that I the friends know me as like the guy who always jinxes everything. Always, especially in fantasy, I'm like, oh, my guy's playing horrible, and then boom, James Cook takes off like an 80-yard touchdown run, and the group chat wants to like crucify me. But I had said something. I'm like, the thing about the NFL is destiny never arrives, because I'm a Patriots fan. I remember 2007 too well. Still have nightmares about it. Yeah, I was like 8 or 9 years old when that happened, right?
Yeah, I have nightmares about my team winning 6 Super Bowls.
Shut up. But I said that, and everyone's like, shut up, Aaron, shut up. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of woke up Sunday, and I just kind of had like this feeling that Kansas City just didn't have it for whatever reason, where like finally I'm like, Philly's more talented. Maybe it'll finally show out. And what the argument I'm trying to make is, for the last 2 years, I think most casual and NFL fans in general, we're not going to get into the refs and stuff like that, because that's all for Twitter. That's for when we're upset and mad. The truth is,
it's real.
Teams just beat themselves. Unfortunately, I guess I can argue that because I was a Patriots fan and I know what it felt like to be in the Chiefs fans. How it feels for them. We're like, well, everyone keeps blaming the refs. Yeah. Anyways, irrelevant. But the Chiefs, to me, just seemed like there were teams they played that were genuinely better than them on paper, but the Chiefs just executed better at the end of the day. I will say the Chiefs are probably the most well-coached team in the league. I think that's something we could all agree on. They have a fantastic staff, and they kind of got coaches that are going to get poached because they're not good head coaches, Spags and Matt.
You don't got to talk about Matt Nagy.
No, dude. Yeah.
You don't got to talk about him.
Honestly, that was like one of my biggest surprises for the game, was just how bad Andy Reid actually coached that game. Like, I think it was like in the first half, they ran the ball like 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
Like, I bet.
Dude, I see him, Pacheco is so washed.
Yeah, but like
I don't think he's washed. I think he's coming back from breaking his leg.
No, but I don't know. They ran the ball 3 times. And like when you're going against the best pass rush in the NFL and you have a shitty O-line, like what are you gonna do? You're just not gonna run the ball. So every down, the Eagles just pull their ears back and just go straight for Mahomes. They don't have to worry about the run. They don't have to protect against it. Like, there's just nothing you can kind of do.
I think really the biggest thing was just the physicality aspects. The Chiefs have always been like the bully and the team that people don't want to play against, and Philadelphia did not care. The other biggest takeaway with Philly is that they just didn't take their foot off the gas. It seems like week in and week out, teams have the Chiefs like right where they want them, and then they blow it. Turnovers, they make some bad play call. It just doesn't make sense to anyone watching. Philadelphia, no. They did not stop. They did not stop until the game was completely out of reach. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from even the past couple Super Bowls is, the Niners tried to get cute a couple times. It just didn't work. They went away from what they were doing, and that's, it sucks to say and see, but realistically, Philly they went in there, and they just had the mentality they were better, and they just didn't stop.
A lot of teams, I feel like when they play the Chiefs, they try to play up to the Chiefs, and they
100%.
Don't play their style of football, and they just forget what they're doing. And I kind of feel like that's what the Chiefs did against the Eagles. Like all year, they've been running screens, running the ball a lot. They're like a super even offense. They run as much as they throw, basically, and they just get away from that just because they're trying to play to the Eagles' weaknesses, which did not work at all.
It was really surprising seeing how like Travis Kelce and all of them just didn't really seem like they were in it at one point. Like there's clips on Twitter of like watching Mahomes run for his life.
It was in like the second quarter,
and Travis Kelce's just sitting there, and he's just like standing there, and
just letting
you have DeAndre Hopkins drops a ball that he might take to the house, and it switches the momentum going into halftime. And it's just instead of 24-3 or 24-7, it's 24-0, and it's just kind of like, wow, like that was our chance at some points going into the half.
I don't even care though. Like they were down. What was it? I think it was like 27 or it was like 24-3 or something like that. I was still biting my nails, bro.
Oh yeah.
You're like 20, you can be up 24-0, and I feel like the Chiefs are still gonna win that shit. It was just.
I know at halftime I'm like, man, like I feel good, but I don't want to get too comfortable yet because all it takes is, to reference 28-3, of course, all it takes is a quick touchdown, a good touchdown drive that, kind of punches the defense in the mouth, and that turnover. Yeah. That's all it takes.
Just builds momentum.
You just get that swing, and then the other team's like, oh my God, we were just up 3 scores 5 minutes ago, and now it's a 1-score game. And we gotta you kind of get into a panic mode and stuff like that. But all in all, like the Eagles, they played their brand of football. Their D-line was excellent. Can't ask for anything better than what they gave them.
Sirianni, and what's his name, Vic Fangio, dude, they like coached a hell of a game.
They did coach a hell of a game.
They like outcoached Reed and Spags. That was kind of nuts. Did not expect that.
No.
Even with like Saquon getting bottled up,
which we all kind of expected to.
Yeah, like their run defense is really good. Even with like Saquon getting bottled up, they were able just to take the top off and just do whatever they want, like through the passing game.
I was very surprised with what Jalen Hurts was able to do. You can ask anyone. I am not a Jalen Hurts fan, but he really showed up. He was the factor, him and the defense, and it was just insane watching him make the throws. And he has the dagger, and that was kind of it when he takes the top off to Smith. And I was like, oh yeah,
that's what sealed the game. Basically,
this game is over. Like it was already looking like it was over. But after that, it was kind of like, all right, this game's done.
Yeah, once they put up 34, it was like, all right. Yeah, this game's over.
I think my favorite part of the game was obviously the Cooper DeJean pick 6 for obviously meme-worthy reasons. But it was just just awesome because it just felt like I think that was the moment where I was like, dude, Philly can do this. Mahomes was looking rattled. It was sack, pick 6. That was huge.
Yeah, and when it went from 10-0 to 17-0, it felt really different.
Yeah, it started to be obviously, like we said, when it was 24-0 halftime, we're still like, oh, anything can happen because he's done it. They've been behind 10 points in every Super Bowl. Chief fans on Twitter were like, oh, the Super Bowl starts once we're down 10 points. And obviously that's been true for 3 of the last 4. But this game, kind of felt like that Tampa Bay one. But I think we kind of underestimate that the Texans had such a dominant pass rush that they really kept them contained. Buffalo, I don't even want to get into that game because that was just the whole thing. But I felt that the Texans presented the game plan and the formula to beat the Chiefs. It's just Houston's offensive line just blew up in that second half, that fourth quarter. And obviously, when you only had Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, and then you're kind of running a bunch of 3-4 guys out there, there's only so much you can do. And then Buffalo, that's just a whole nother story. And then at least Philadelphia had absolute star power everywhere. So Kansas City, something we may have underestimated going into the game was Philadelphia really is the most talented team they're going to play. And look, we gave Houston no shot against the Chargers, who they ended up kind of kicking their ass in that second half.
Yeah.
Who has half as the offensive talent as the Eagles. And like I was telling these guys, I'm like, I wonder where McDuffie's going to be. He was kind of came up as a great nickel, and now he's playing a bit more on the outside. I'm like, if he's against AJ Brown is so much bigger and stronger than him. He's gonna get crushed. And that first pass interference call got everybody in a whirlwind, but they did the funny makeup call and they're like, oh, we're gonna even it out. But all in all, Philly, there's really not a lot to talk about. I thought we were gonna have 20-30 minutes of stuff to go off of, but
Philly was just the better team, dude.
They punched him in the mouth. It's it's like I said earlier, it's what we kind of have been waiting for Kansas City to play a team that was genuinely more talented than them in every position except maybe quarterback, and they just got they got what they deserved finally. They didn't have a team that I wouldn't say played down to them because the Chiefs are still arguably the best team in the AFC, but they just finally had a team that did not play to that level.
Yeah.
To keep them in the game. They didn't and then Kansas City's game plan just got so scrambled. They they were almost playing Madden where they're trying to go for a quick touchdown.
That's what it confused me because I feel like the second half adjustments by KC is always exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
And they came out there and then just looked like absolute crap again.
Bro, it was not like us. It was them in the locker room.
Hearing that muffled through the walls.
3 scores, hearing that muffled through the walls.
Just pissed.
I would be too. I was
yeah.
How the hell are we supposed to go back out there after this?
But no, dude, the whole team just looked defeated. By halftime, they just looked out of it. They didn't look like they'd have any fight. It was just Mahomes was the only one that was out there still trying to fight.
Yeah.
And everybody else just seemed like they gave up.
Yeah, a lot of the times you saw on the sideline that they kind of just they didn't have the same look of oh no, we're in it. After the Cooper DeJean pick, you kind of sat there and were oh,
just got demoralized.
Yeah, Philly's for real. This is not going to be one of those standard games. This is different. There's a different type of energy that this team's playing with from when they played a couple years back.
They were much more composed, I would say, because I brought that up. How I know you guys, referenced how that's how Dre Greenlaw is. He gets super excited on the sideline and stuff. I'm I feel like the team just needs to stay composed. Teams the Bengals, it feels like every time the Bengals have lost to the Chiefs these last few years, it's just the players are so just distraught after the loss. Look at the Bills in the championship. It's just losing to the Chiefs. It feels like it just demoralizes these teams so bad. And it feels reference to the AFC Championship game and even to the NFC title game, the Commanders and the Bills, it felt like they had to fight for every single yard where Philly and Kansas City just got what they want.
Yeah.
And then the Super Bowl, after watching Kansas City really do that for the past years, because their defense has been absolutely phenomenal the last few years. I'm never going to take that away from Spags. As much as we dislike him, he is an absolute mastermind. But kind of what I'm saying is that it was just kind of funny to watch the Chiefs struggle to get yards. Like for a casual fan, you're oh man, that Super Bowl sucked. This is a blowout. But for us, I'm it just felt like the suffering for the last 3 years of watching the Chiefs. Just I
loved every second of it. Dude.
I loved every second of it.
Yeah, being a Niner fan, I very much enjoyed watching the Chiefs just get something that didn't go their way because Patrick Mahomes has ruined me multiple times, even in the regular season. Even that first time they played him in Kansas City, Mahomes plays the Niners, and it's just oh, this is not going to end well. So, but congrats to the Eagles. They had a great season. What do you guys, regarding the entire season, what would you guys say your guys' biggest surprise was in this 2024 season?
Before we jump into that, actually, when did you guys think the Eagles were legit? Because they had the Week 2 game against Atlanta where we were haha, this is going to be like last year all over again.
Because
I didn't think they were legit until the playoffs.
I'll be honest with you. I knew they were legit when I was sitting next to Derek and me and him are playing each other in fantasy that week. I have Saquon, and Saquon took 2 back-to-back. It was 70-yard touchdowns.
Against the Rams.
Yeah, against the Rams. Against that game, I was that team's going to be hard to stop.
When they went into Baltimore for me, that's when I was
yeah,
okay,
that was a big one too.
They're a good team. They are legit. But the funny thing is, let's disregard the snow game for a second, the weather conditions. We're probably one play away from a Chiefs 3-peat.
Yeah.
I don't think the Commanders or the Rams would beat the Chiefs. I think the Rams would give the Chiefs more trouble than maybe the Commanders would. The Commanders' defense will have absolutely gotten diced up. Now, the Rams have a very good pass rush as well, but I think the Chiefs' defense would have just had more success than they would.
I think out of all the NFC teams, the Eagles were going to be the only ones that could beat the Chiefs. Going into that game, though, I mean, honestly, a few weeks before the Super Bowl, I thought there was going to be no team that could beat them. It's just all like the other factors to go into the Chiefs, like how hungry they are and everything. Even after winning so many Super Bowls, it just felt like there was no team that can stop them once they get to the playoffs. That's what it felt like. Same thing like with the Patriots back in the day. Like once they get to the playoffs, it felt like there was no team that could stop them.
Yeah. But overall, I think, and that's how I felt about the AFC is I thought, looking at it now, I'm like, none of these teams would be.
Mm-mm.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Bills should have been here. We all love Josh Allen. Dude, they would have gotten killed.
I think it might have been a better game.
It might have been a better game.
I think they matched up very well against the Eagles. Yeah. I don't think the Eagles would have done what they did.
No, I think it would have been a better game. I think the Eagles probably would have won. But.
Yeah, I still would have probably said the Eagles are going to win this game, but I don't think it would have been the game that it was. I think we would have had a lot more of an entertaining football game.
Yeah.
Probably a lot like that Ravens and Eagles matchup that was pretty good until Saquon and Philly's offense started popping the top off there in the fourth quarter and just started to run away with it.
That was like a lot of their games throughout the season. I feel like a lot of their games, like they were kind of closer games, and then in the fourth quarter, like when they just started handing the ball to Saquon 20 times, it just got away from him.
Or Giants fans.
I know. I feel so bad for them, bro.
They got Malik Neighbors. I'd be all right.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Give the Giants 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. You've been saying that for a long time.
I've been saying that for 4 or 5 years.
No, but back to Derek's point. You said biggest surprise, right? What's yours?
I was surprised that the Jets were as bad as they were.
Yeah.
I really didn't think the Jets were going to be that bad. I did not expect their offense to be that bad. I didn't think Robert Saleh was going to get fired, even if they didn't win games.
Bro got scapegoated so bad.
I did not.
He got scapegoated so bad.
The way that their offense I had Breece Hall in my fantasy team, so I really didn't think that they were going to be that bad on offense. Defensively, they were okay until Robert Saleh left, and then it kind of got wishy-washy with certain games, but I was really high on the Jets. I had them winning that division. I thought I did. I mean, I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be fine. I thought the Bills were going to do classic Bill things. No one takes the Dolphins serious. The Patriots drafted a kid from the ACC who just so happened to work out. Bro. But at the time, what were you going to take that loaded defense and then you plug Rodgers into it? Why wouldn't you expect that team to win some games? Even if you got half of what Rodgers was, but we didn't even get half of it. We got 10% of what he is.
Honestly, against like their first game against the Niners, we were at that game and I was thinking like they didn't look bad. Like they didn't look great either, but I don't know. I felt like that team had like potential, you know what I mean, in the first week, but that shit just fell apart so quick.
Yeah, their offensive line was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just the play calling seemed really inconsistent. They weren't getting their best players involved. It was 1 week they would use their guys, and the next week they wouldn't play them. Like Breece Hall wasn't on the field.
No.
Or he would get the ball, and the offensive line just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, so Garrett Wilson stops getting the ball. Like, why aren't you getting like your playmakers involved?
Yeah, towards the back end, Garrett Wilson was really productive, but at the same time, it was like you didn't really know what they were doing. Like they didn't really focus on their main guys.
Yeah.
So then I would say that was my biggest surprise, other than the Bengals. I thought the Bengals were going to be in the AFC Championship. Or
that was going to be my biggest surprise. But I mean, at the same time, like the Bengals, for whatever reason, never invest in their defense at all. Like they have dogs on their offense. Like their offense is kind of crazy. You have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Future 49er.
Yeah, like you have dogs everywhere in their offense. Their offensive line, trash. Defense, trash. It's just Joe Burrow. I feel so bad for the dude. Like if any other year, that guy would have won MVP. Yeah. It's just his team and his defense just let him down at every single point they can, and it sucks for him, dude.
Well, Joe Burrow is my fantasy football MVP because that Burrow and Chase stack won me the championship this year.
I saw that coming too when you were drafting. I was like, dude, these guys are about to get the stack right now. And I saw it like snaking around. And I was like, no, he's gonna get him.
You're like, don't let Aaron get the stack.
I legit said that in the chat. I said he's gonna get the stack.
It didn't look good. It didn't look good at first until I think it's when they played the Commanders in that game. That's when.
Yeah.
I think that was week 3. Yeah, it was week 3 Monday night.
The first few weeks of this last season was so weird. What was it like? The Ravens start 0-3, I think, and
they
then
lost to the Raiders in week 2. Did they start? I don't think they started 0-3. I know they started 0-2.
Or it might have been 1-2.
I think they were 1-2.
Yeah, because they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Raiders, and then they lost to, or no, they won the third game. I don't know. But no, the whole beginning of the season was just weird. A lot of teams.
What about you? What's your big?
So I would say my biggest surprise was probably Jaden Daniels because I wasn't the biggest fan of him coming into the draft, and
I didn't expect him to be that crazy.
And I was like so grateful that Washington took him, and I was ready to like dunk on them and be like, it's the I don't even remember who they took over Christian Gonzalez, but I think the poor kid got cut, and I'm like, it's that situation all over again, and I was wrong. He's a rock star, and now I love him. I mean, I was rooting for him in the playoffs to keep going as far as he could. And I mean, Washington had a very memeable like offseason last year. Everyone's like, oh, they'd be elite if it was like 2015 or 2016.
It's crazy, like how fast they turned around.
Great veteran presence. I mean, Bobby Wagner's obviously veteran leadership went a long way. And he was great this year. It's not like he had a bad year. And
Austin Eckler. Washed
we gotta, Eckler, dude. He leaves us a sour taste in our mouth from fantasy. But he was awesome this year, and they just, Dan Quinn's obviously not a bad coach. He kind of just got shafted last year, but I think he ended up in the best place out of where he went, and I'd say that's my biggest surprise is how good that team really was. I would also say the Jets being a failure was a surprise too, because I had Buffalo winning the division when I made my like early offseason or my early season predictions last year. I had the Jets finishing in second. I had them going to the AFC title game as the higher seed over Cincinnati because I had Baltimore winning. And I had Cincinnati winning it because I was like, oh, Detroit versus Cincinnati in the Super Bowl would be like iconic.
Yeah, the Jets were a surprise for sure.
But I'm glad you said that Jaden Daniels was your biggest surprise.
He really was.
I was fighting for Jaden Daniels like he was my son in that group chat for months, saying that he was going to be fine, that he was. I didn't think he was QB1.
It's crazy.
But I definitely thought he was QB2.
It's crazy how it all worked out for them. Like their whole season turned around, or their whole team turned around in one season. It went from like winning 3 to 4 games, had the second pick.
I wonder who in power is no longer in power that caused all of that.
It's just insane. Like how quickly that team turned into a 12-5 team.
Yeah, they're insane. I don't know if they'll beat Philly for the division next year, but hell, they're going to be back.
It's going to be a fight, though.
That may be the NFC title game next year, and I think from like a neutral standpoint, I'd be totally cool with that again.
No.
I mean,
it's going to be San Francisco.
Yeah.
Personally, with the Super Bowl being in SF next year, I would love to have 4 different teams besides like Buffalo in the conference games again. But
I legit think it's going to be San Francisco though in the title game. Fourth place
schedule. Robert Sala got competent DC in there.
Yeah. Fourth place schedule is insane.
Have you seen who they play?
It's terrible.
Terrible.
We're looking at home games. It's like, dude, none of these games are like primetime worthy next year. They'll probably
I'm gonna watch them play the Titans.
They'll have like a divisional game. Will be a primetime game that we'll go to next year or something.
The Rams. I play a Rams.
Yeah. Seattle.
But no, like I think with that easiest schedule, Robert Saleh's back. Probably gonna let a couple people walk, but we're gonna get probably re-sign Greenlaw. Hopefully get some power off the edge, like a big free agent name or something. Myles Garrett. But
have you checked your phone today?
No.
They said Greenlaw's not coming back.
What?
But they
Where did they see that, bro?
Go on Twitter and look at it.
I don't have Twitter.
Go on Instagram. the 49er insiders.
Bro, if this is how
Greenlaw wants to go.
Okay, we also heard that Brandon Ayuk wasn't coming back for a whole year.
That was something.
that was insane.
It sounds like Drain Greenlaw wants to go run his own show.
Hell no.
He wants to be middle linebacker 1.
Bro, him and Fred Warner are like besties, bro. They're not gonna break up.
I hope that's the case.
I fucking hope so, but
we'll see. But yeah, no, it was a really good season. There's a lot of highs and lows, especially as a Niner fan. Yeah, finding out that CMC has like injuries that no one knew about going into the training camp.
Bro was finding for like stem cell treatment.
We go into the season thinking it's an ankle injury. It turns out it's Achilles tendonitis, and then it turns out he has it in both of his legs.
They had the whole thing with Brandon Ayuk, and then he finally starts to look like himself again, and then he gets hurt.
Legit a cursed season.
He finally looks decent. He gets hurt. George Kittle's hurt. Fred Warner's playing hurt. We don't have Greenlaw, obviously. The Niners are just blowing games to division rivals. It was
terrible.
It's a very bad year.
Oh my god, that game against the Cardinals.
That was a really disappointing
game against the
year.
Cardinals, a game against the Rams, and the Seahawks. I was at that Seahawks game where they blew the lead, and then the Rams won with the Jake Moody missed field goal. That's the moral of the story for the Niners this year. Jesus.
Don't let Jake Moody kick. He wasn't that bad until he got hurt.
Like what? He missed like one kick before, and then after he missed like 60% of his kicks or something.
It was pretty rough. But
speaking of kickers that missed a lot, Jake Elliott was pretty bad.
Dude, he was money in the Super Bowl.
Money in the Super Bowl.
It was the same thing with Jake Moody the year before that. Jake Moody, everyone was scared about him, and Moody went into the Super Bowl and he was drilling them.
He missed an extra point. Missed an extra point in the Super Bowl.
I mean, he
went to overtime.
He was.
Chiefs would have got a 2-point conversion tie.
Yeah, probably.
Honest.
Yeah, that game was. I don't know.
We don't talk about last year's Super Bowl. That was not fun for the three of us.
No, it was not. It was not a good day. Not a good day.
Top 5 like worst days of all time, maybe.
Yeah.
All time's a stretch.
I don't think it's a stretch.
As a sports fan.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I was hope you guys didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Emergency. But overall recap, I thought I was, not to dance around and be excited. I was right about Buffalo being as good as they ended up being. I'm like, Josh Allen. I looked a little rough in week 1, but Arizona was better than what we expected.
Lamar is my MVP.
He probably should have won MVP. Lamar.
I mean, he had the stats, but Joe Burrow had the stats, but they're not going to give it to a non-playoff quarterback.
I mean, I think out of all stats, like, sure, Lamar should have probably won it, but if you're looking at a most valuable player,
it was definitely Allen or Saquon.
Yeah, those two are definitely the most valuable to their team.
Chase, even, dude. He won the Triple Crown. Like,
yeah.
It's insane because he's arguably the best wide receiver in football, and he's won the Triple Crown, and, like, it's not a thing. Like,
well, nobody talked about it because we had Saquon. Yeah. Like Saquon, everybody was hyped about him.
Saquon was stealing all the.
Yeah,
there's a lot of love for Saquon.
It's awesome. That was a surprise. Like that, Saquon and Derrick Henry kind of. I wouldn't say Saquon was as washed as much because he was just still a lot younger. But I'm probably gonna get he's not that much younger. He's only like 2 years younger. I don't know how old he is, but. Kind of what I'm saying is that they just went to new teams and they had like the best years of their careers, pretty much. And
crazy what a change is seen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, a lot of guys. Well, Saquon, we all knew Saquon was just behind a really bad Giants team, but I didn't think Derrick Henry was going to do what he did. Like I expected Derrick Henry to be very good. Like I thought he's going to be great. He's going to bring another dynamic, and they're going to be very good, but. Just watching him play and like still making the big runs and like completely just taking over games, I was like, oh wow, I really didn't expect to see it at such a like over time. He kept doing it. It wasn't just like 1 week where it was like, oh, he stole the show. Like no, he was taking over week in, week out, and
he was still taking the ball down to the house. He was still getting like 60, 70-yard runs as like an old man.
Yeah, he was still dude. He looks like he's 25.
He's running like he's 25.
Yeah. But the season was great. I love that all of the rookie quarterbacks were
awesome. They all panned out.
They've all been pretty solid. Bo Nix, I was super wrong about Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is a dog, dude. He surprised me a lot this year.
Bo Nix is cold. I think Caleb's just he's in the roughest situation in terms of what his offense was in terms of coaching and his offensive line.
Yeah.
I think he has the best weapons. But I think, with Ben Johnson coming over, going to be a fresh start, essentially. I'm excited to see year 2 Caleb.
DJ Moore's going to be throwing some wicked trick play balls like Jameson Williams was.
That was insane.
That might be the worst play of last year.
Bro, they're doing like triple coverage.
I don't know what he was doing.
I was like, what is he doing, man? Why did he throw the ball? Like, he's so fast and athletic. Should try to
throw it away.
Either throw it away or try to make something happen. I think he was like about to get sacked too, if I remember right. So, oh well, he just threw up a prayer and
he threw that thing up.
That was a crazy game though. That was probably the best playoff game of the year, honestly. Yeah, I like to say that was
a fun game.
We were at work sitting there just walking around, bro. Just every 2 seconds, you put your phone down, you looked away from a TV, and there was someone else scored.
Yeah, that game
You're sitting there
nuts.
like it was a crazy game just to sit there and kind of like legit couldn't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah.
There was an interception, and then there was a touchdown, and then they do a trick play touchdown after Jared Goff gets murdered.
Yeah.
And then Jared Goff comes back, and it was just an insane game. That's probably my game of the year. But recap, it was a great season. I'm really looking forward to what 2025 has. I think off to a start. It's gonna be fun. Like Debo gonna have a new team.
I think there's gonna be a lot of movement with a lot of like star players this offseason. So it's gonna be a lot to look at free agents wise. A lot of new signings, people going to new teams. So it'll be interesting offseason.
I think what happened with Saquon and Derrick Henry is going to open eyes for these players, like you said, and they're going to be like, maybe the grass is greener on the other side, these new opportunities and stuff like that. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, the biggest free agent is probably T. Higgins. He's going to be the one that everyone's going to have eyes on. Where's he going to end up?
San Francisco.
I think he's going to stay in Cincinnati.
I hope he stays in Cincinnati. I know that's probably like crazy to say as a team that receiving help really bad, a fan of a team that needs receiving help. I love watching him, Burrow, and Chase. Dude, the Bengals, I watched so many I probably watched every Bengals game last year because I had the Burrow and Chase stack. And dude, their games are cinema, dude. They are so entertaining to watch.
They're such a good offense. It's just
their defense being bad is what makes them so fun to watch.
Yeah, because they're just playing close games.
Yeah.
They're just playing from behind.
Like there's like 4 Bengals games I would pick for like game of the year. Like both Ravens games, the one against the Commanders and then the one against Denver. Those games were all like so good. Just down to the wire and just
that Denver game was nuts. Yeah.
That game was
that Denver game was crazy.
Yeah, that game took years off my life.
Yeah, that Denver game.
Denver was another team that was really interesting to watch. There's like 5 or 6 teams that are like almost like must watch every week because they like just find themselves in these crazy games like Denver, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. The Panthers there in the second half started to get that way too when Bryce Young really got a hold of things.
Let me check the.
Sorry about those technical difficulties, guys. But the cameras aren't being very friendly right now. It's not funny. So I know we're talking about most entertaining teams, but yeah, we're just going to get into our Super Bowl predictions and then send you guys on your way. And then next week we'll go more into off-season content and stuff like that, draft analysis, yada, yada, yada. So Derek, who do you got in the Super Bowl next year?
I'm going to go Bengals, Niners. I think the Niners are going to bounce back with an easier schedule. I think not a lot of the issues that they dealt with going into the offseason last year, they're not going to have. I think in terms of competence of like the defense is going to be a lot more sound. I don't think they're going to have so many like what are they doing moments. I think with Robert Saleh, they were very elite. It came down to a lot of depth and other stuff, but very excited for like the young secondary. We have Lenore, we have Green coming in the year 2. I think if they can keep Greenlaw and they can stay healthy in the offense, especially just how everything's lining up, I think they can definitely make a Super Bowl run. And then the Bengals, I think really what kept them holding back from a playoff run was just their defense. I think if they can kind of find some adjustments on defense, they can find a way to keep T. Higgins. But even without him, I still have the Bengals as an early prediction, early team that can get right back into the playoff run and make a run for the Super Bowl. He is the only guy in the AFC that can beat Mahomes.
As of right now.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, mine at least, I'm going to have San Francisco too. I think San Francisco is going to beat Philly in the NFC title game to go meet Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Baltimore, I feel like for a lot of like this year, felt like they were like the best team in football a lot of the time. Like their offense just looked like insane. And I think it's going to be honestly either Lamar or Josh Allen, that one of those guys are going to figure out eventually how to beat Mahomes. They're eventually going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be Lamar or if it's going to be Josh first. But one of them is going to do it in the playoffs to go meet San Francisco in the Super Bowl. But yeah, like you were saying, the Niners are going to be fine. They're going to be fine if they stay healthy. They're going to have Robert Saleh. They're going to have good coordinators. I have honestly no worries about San Francisco going into this year. It'll be a lot healthier, hopefully. a lot of people making, year two. Like we had a really, really good draft class last year. Ronaldo Green, year two. What's his name? Pooney, the right guard, year
he
two.
was awesome for you guys.
Yeah. We had a lot of good rookies. Malik Mustafa, too, is probably going to start next year at safety. So, honestly, I'm pretty hyped about this upcoming season for San Francisco, and they're probably going to play Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, this is a raw prediction because a lot's going to change in March with all the free agency. So,
Very
obviously, when we get to August and rosters are set, there's always players get hurt in camp and stuff. We'll have more set. I mean, you guys are probably going to roll with the Niners anyways. I mean, I think the NFC is going to be either Detroit, San Francisco, or Philly. I think that's a lock. It's going to be one of those three. Maybe Washington can sneak it again. My biggest concern with Detroit would be just they lost a lot of coaching staff. So it might take another year for them to get back to the promised land once again. So from the NFC, honestly, I'm just going to roll with the Eagles because they are probably still the best roster in football. They got some big free agents, but heck, if there's a GM to trust to rebuild and retool really quickly, it's Howie Roseman. The AFC is tough. You can make an argument for all the division winners. You can make an argument for the Chargers potentially once they're fully healthy, if they could get a receiver. I love Justin Herbert, man. All right.
I like Justin Herbert too, but the Chargers, I don't think so.
Yeah, they're probably still a couple years away.
Yeah.
I think we said he may never get there. He may have to have a Matt Stafford career arc. It's tough, dude. Even the North outside of Cleveland, I guess Cleveland isn't that great, and Pittsburgh's 9-8 every year.
Mm-hmm.
Regular season merchants.
Yeah, we're gonna start out 7-6 and 2. But for me, the AFC. I hate that I'm gonna say this, and I hope that I get influenced and see stuff that changes it. But I'm sick to my stomach for saying this. I think we're gonna see a repeat of this year. I think Kansas City is gonna be hellbent on a revenge tour after getting embarrassed in the Super Bowl. And I think Philly is going to just genuinely be the team to beat. It's such a lame pick. It's probably the Super Bowl favorites based in all the, sports books. But, I mean, I don't know right now. I think that Kansas City is going to retool. Rashee Rice ain't going to get suspended for the whole season. He's only going to be gone.
Hopefully he doesn't kill someone again.
He's only going to get suspended for 4 games.
I think that's the wrong guy. I don't think...
What?
Did Rashee Rice kill someone? I don't think
he caused an car.
Yeah, it wasn't some big car accident or something.
Yeah,
it was a car accident.
Jalen Carr is the one that got someone killed drag race.
Well, I know that.
I don't think Rashee Rice got anybody killed. But he caused a big...
Same shit.
Yeah, I just let's be honest. If Travis Kelce retires, that doesn't move the needle. The way he played in the Super Bowl.
He didn't do anything this year.
Yeah. And I hate it. I think it's going to be Kansas City and Philadelphia again. And if we end up attending this Super Bowl, I will be so mad if that's what we have to watch.
I'm not going to buy tickets to that game.
Yeah,
we might have to wait.
If it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, I will not.
I'm not buying.
I will not be there.
We might have to wait until we see the matchup. Yeah, but all in all, that's just. I just feel that the Chiefs are gonna be on a revenge tour next year.
I don't think you're wrong, to be honest. I mean, I think it's going to be really hard. I think they're going to be an amazing team again next year. It's always hard to bet against them. I don't think they're going to be bad or anything. They're going to win 14 games, probably 13, 14, 15 games. They're going to win their division. They're going to be the same team, basically. But yeah, that little bit of revenge behind them makes it a little scary.
That's scary to think about, but it's probably what will happen. And then, like I said, Philly's just the team to beat. They're going to draft good. They'll be fine. I mean, I think the NFC, whatever NFC team comes out, whether it be Detroit, San Francisco, or Philly, I think those teams would all be more talented than Kansas City. It's just
I don't think Detroit's going to make.
I think Detroit's
off. Yeah, I think Detroit's going to take a year off.
I mean, I
think they're still going to make the playoffs probably, but I
think Detroit had a window and it closed when they blew it.
No, I don't think their window's closed. I just think they got poached.
Maybe window closes is the right thing, but I think that particular team had a time and a place, and they blew it against San Francisco, and that was it.
I mean, are we so sure they would have even won last year? Because they were clearly better offensively.
I don't know, but I think that was the window.
I mean, that's why I said that I think they have their window. I think they're in kind of like a Buffalo, Baltimore-esque window, where as long as they have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson healthy, they have a shot to win it all. Obviously, same with Kansas City and Mahomes. But they're just, I can see them maybe getting knocked out in the first or second round. You're like, oh, we all kind of saw it coming, and then the following year they're going to be avenged.
Yeah, I can see that. Like they probably lose a rare wild card game or something, come back the next year.
So just to clarify, I'm Eagles Chiefs. Oh, that's so gross to say.
San Francisco, Baltimore.
I'm gonna go San Francisco, Cincinnati. It's gonna be my pick.
It'd be awesome to have San Francisco be the home team with the Super Bowl being at Levi Stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just want to thank all you guys for listening. Go ahead, leave a comment, leave any feedback, suggestions. We'll take it all in, and hope to see you guys next week.
Ladies and gentlemen.